Everybody, hello everybody, Baruch Hashem. We're on the next portion for we're talking about Parshas Mishpatim, not Mishpat, Shoftim. I'm sorry, Shoftim, and we're reading from the book here. The book is a bilingual translation of Dvar Malchus. You can look in the notes. You can get it off livingmoshiach.com. And right now we're in the middle of 11. And the Rebbe is explaining over here like just amazing things. He's talking about here that Moshiach is here, and he's revealed. He says over here, and so there's instructions and mentioned above that we're in chapter 11, that it must be publicized to all people of the generation that we have merited that Hashem chose and appointed a person of free will who is his own right incomparably superior to the people of the generation, that he should be the judge and the advisor and the prophet of the generation, who will issue directives and give advice regarding the service of all Jewish people and of all people of this generation in matters of Torah and mitzvahs, and also in regards to the general day-to-day life and conduct. This is all that the Rebbe's done for the whole world, including advice and directives in matters of, in all your ways you should know him, and all your deeds shall be for the sake of heaven. This is exactly everything the Rebbe's done. The Rebbe's done all of these things, and he says everybody knows, and they see all the tzaddikim, all the admorim, everybody comes to the Rebbe. My mashpia is an admor, he's a biali admor. He's an amazing guy, he's helped me tremendously. But he says the Rebbe is his Rebbe. The Rebbe, he says, he told me, he didn't say, he told the Rebbe's above him. They all know that there could be tzaddik, like we times in Moshe Rabbeinu. There are many tzaddikim, many people had Ruach HaKodesh, but Moshe Rabbeinu was just head and shoulders above everybody. And this is the Rebbe. There's nobody like him, and and Baruch Hashem is here with us, and he's there to help us in every way we need. So including the main prophecy. What's that? The prophecy that immediately to redemption, and literally immediately, behold, this one, Moshiach comes. The Rebbe is very clearly calling himself Moshiach over here. He says he's the only one who could fit the description over here in the world. Together with the merit, every person of our generation has a responsibility to accept upon himself the judges and advisors, and to obey his instructions and good advice. In the plural, judges and advisors, a multitude of laws and a plenitude of advice, in addition to the fact that they come from and are based on the instructions and advice of the judges and advisors, who are the kings, the rabbis, and our rabbis are teachers of the preceding generations, which therefore they also have the power of being understood by everyone as good advice, not only as a command. That even if one holds highly of himself, and even if one has basis in Torah and Shulchan Aruch to hold highly of himself, it is known that in the dispute between a single person and the many, the law is according to the opinion of the many. The land, in our case, according to the judges and advisors, which is the opinion of the many. The Rebbe is saying that we have to follow the Rebbe, no matter what you can say and what you can think, and you might have good ideas and it might sound good. He says, but everybody says you have to follow the leader, the Moshiach, and the Rebbe says this person is revealed, and he's only talking about himself. And through the acceptance and the fulfillment of the instructions of the judges and advisors of our generation, through this itself, there's a taste in the beginning as a fulfillment of the prayer, return our judges, we say this in Shemon Esrei, standing in Mida, return our judges at first, and our advisors as in the beginning. That in the true and complete redemption, as mentioned above, most certainly we have the beginning of the fulfillment of the prophecy, since what ends up in action was in thought at first, namely, that thought is the beginning of action, and since this was already in thought, it will, and I don't know if I agree with this, but ends up in action that wasn't thought at start. Namely, that through the beginning of action, and since this was already in thought, I don't like how he translated this. Let me see something. Shem from himself Mizuk Mark Mishiv Al Hakman Kamas Das Shirt Ach and Dever. Das is schon auch in deeper. So the Rebbe is saying that how much. Okay, let's go over this. Maybe make sense of it in English. There's no Achrona to ausbringen die Devorim für Dvar Kolab and Yuchat as at Kontrabula. Okay, let's go over this again. Okay. And through the acceptance and fulfillment of the instruction of the judges and advisors of our generation, and through this itself, there is a taste of the beginning of the fulfillment of the prayer, like it says, to return our judges at first and our advisors as in the beginning, in the true and complete redemption, as mentioned above. Most certainly, we've already said the beginning of this prophecy, as it says, what ends up in action was first in thought. How much more so that this is the case, since this has already been brought out in speech, movement of the lips, the concept of prophecy. When the prophecy you speak out, as was mentioned and customary to express things that with speech, including especially, behold, the redemption is about to come. Moshiach comes. So the Rebbe is saying here that let's go over this, and we have to follow what the Rebbe says. Yes, he's the judges and advisors of the generation. He's the Moshiach of the generation. He's the chosen one. That the Rebbe had said that this one is revealed, and that this itself, that when you start following and listening to him, then you start having an understanding of what it is Geula, because following and listening to the Rebbe means he implants yourself, his brains, his thoughts, how he sees the world becomes part of you. And how he acts in the world, you follow him, you become part of him. And so you see the Rebbe is totally living in a Geula atmosphere. You see what he's talking about. And we also said, so the Rebbe said this is one level, that following the Rebbe, that he's our leader and he's our counselor, and then and it will be in a level like it says, Sof Masaba Makshaba Techilah, that the end of thought is first. The end of the final action is in first in thought. Rebbe explains in the Chatodi that this is a very special level. That when a person, there's a level, he explains, it's a mimer, Beis Nisan, talks about that the main thing is action. And he brings two levels of action. One level of action is that when a person is a nice guy, he's a wonderful human being, and he loves to help people out. So when he's finally finds somebody that really needs help, and he realizes and understands he's really deserving, he's a real Rachmanis, we really need to help him, and he finally gives the guy money, the poor person money, that's tied into his original delight, the original being a nice guy. Because if he can't give the money out, then his joy is affected, because he's not being a nice guy, and that's what he likes to do. He likes to be a nice guy. So it said that's one level. That's called the beginning is tied in the end, and the end is tied in the beginning. But there's a higher level. It says that Sof Masah, the final action, was first in thought, was before the first thought, was before the first oinig, was the level beyond that. That's when the person receives it with gratitude. So the same thing over here. Rebbe's talking about that the whole concept of learning and listening and following the Rebbe is Sof Masah Makshaba Techilah. It's this level, that you reach this level of just totally bliss. That when a person gives thanks back to somebody from his heart, there's a level of godliness connects both from this thanks. And it's a special level. And this is the level that we have, that when we're following what the Rebbe says, when we're following what the Rebbe wants us to do, and accepting and following what and fulfilling his instructions, we reach this level of like the final, even the whole inyan of the Geula, of the redemption, was before anything else, was a level that's before anything else, which, okay, how much the more so when a person, he says over here, when a person brings it in speech, because we see the idea of speech is the idea from prophecy. And we see, like right now, we talk always about it. We're talking about the coming of Moshiach. At Moshiach comes. And according to this, there's also the answer to the question, which is being asked regarding what we've spoken lately about. The redemption is coming literally, immediately. Seemingly, how can this proceed so smoothly and be successful? How will the members of one household react to this? And what would the world say about it? The answer is, had the matters of the redemption been an innovation, perhaps there would be a place for a question. But since the redemption is not an innovative thing, it's not a new concept, rather all matters of redemption have already begun. We're seeing it throughout the world, seeing all the people doing tshuva. We're seeing right now the war in Israel, seeing how the Arabs are getting beat. Rather, as at the beginning, have already been drawn down and accepted in this low physical world, of which there's none lower than in the matter of your advice as in the beginning, and it will not be a wonder when the redemption arises immediately, because the Rebbe says we're already seeing this. You have to learn Dvar Malchus. The Rebbe explains this in detail in many different areas, where we simply put, I mean, it's like an amazing. You see all the Baal Teshuvos, the levels of service. I'm here in Tzfas. Amazing people, just amazing kids, families with 8, 7, 10 people. You see, it's just a level you feel like you're in another world here. And it's very, very special. And this is times of Geula. This is a city that people are tasting and ready for the Geula, the redemption. We're now number 12. Simply put, as we stand at a Hasidish for bringing gathering in the 4 cubits of my father-in-law, the Rebbe, the leader of a generation. Rebbe's talking about 770. He's the leader of the generation. It was the Frierdiker Rebbe, and this is his place. The Rebbe and the leader of a generation, everyone, men, women. It's the Rebbe saying all these wonderful things, and now we're standing here in the base Moshiach. And everyone, men and women and children, first and foremost, must take upon themselves good resolutions to fulfill all the good instructions and advice that were discussed at the Farbringen, founded in the written Torah and the oral Torah and the Torah insights and the instructions of our Rebbes, our leaders, that there should be judges you should place for yourself in all your gates, that all 7 gates of a person, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils of one's nose, and the mouth should be conducted according to the instructions of our Holy Torah. That's what we have to do, as it has been given over by the rabbis, the kings in general, and especially by the judge and the advisor of generation, the leader of a generation. So the leader doesn't, the Rebbe doesn't use it doesn't say the Frierdiker Rebbe. He's referring to himself here. More specifically, just as there's a judge and a prophet in every generation. And this is of the foundations of religions. It has to be this way, that also, and in every place, there's a revelation of godliness below. Similarly, God reveals himself. It is also this way individually within a Jew himself. We have in our own soul. It has a soul which is part of Hashem himself. The mamish means that it exists in an external matter, and even when it descends down into the physical world, where everything undergoes changes, the soul, however, does not change or cease to exist. So it says a very special thing, that the soul, it says, that we're part of God mamish. The mamish means the spiritual soul, our divine soul, comes down here and is not affected. It doesn't change. It's this one. And this is the instructions of the judges. that show that it says judges you should place for yourself in all your gates is expressed in the phenomena that the instruction of the general, the judge and advisors are drawn down and transformed through the individual judge and advisor in every Chagadi soul. We take what the Rebbe says and use it in our own life, that all of his gates, physical limbs, are led by his three intellectual faculty, judges, and the attributes of his heart, how he feels and thinks, meet us, namely, that the intellect and the attributes of his godly soul, which learn and understand the instructions of the Torah, and so this how you understand everything and understand the instructions of the Torah, especially as they are explained by the judge of the generation, my father-in-law, the Rebbe, and one brings it down into the attributes of one's heart, love and love, his heart, love and fear, etc. In other words, when you're learning and following it, you have to be excited over it. You bring it down into yourself and say, wow, times of Moshiach, we can see it. We can see the wonderful things, the amazing things that have, and we're part of it, and we're so close to it. And it's Hashem's blessed us with we're Hasidim of the Rebbe. You have to get excited. You have to get yourself happy and excited. This means that his learning Torah needs to be studied, that leads to action, which is expressed in his actual conduct, both the powers of vision, both in his power of vision, in his power of hearing, in his sense of smell, and in speech and in taste with his mouth. That we see that in each of one of them, both directions of the right and left, do good and turn away from evil, because we have two sides, which corresponds to the two eyes, the two ears, and the two nostrils, and even the mouth. Why? Why the mouth? How's it two things? Because the mouth, it tastes, the palate for it tastes foods, both sweet taste and bitter taste, meaning to say that the instruction of the judge, and more specifically the intellect of the godly soul, encompasses and shows how one must act in all matters of life, tasting food and plurality, as explained in Tanya, that both the matters which are sweet as well as matters which are bitter, yet externally good and internally they're good. However, one reveals in them, and this is part of the instruction of the judge, that the truthfully inward of the bitter matter is sweet, and that on the contrary, a much higher sweetness than something that is sweet to begin with, similarly to the virtue of the concealed good. Let me say here. So in other words, we see how everything is good, and we understand that it's good, even though it might not appear that way. And by living and seeing this way, it turns out to be actually good. He brings the publisher brings something from Tanya in this there. Excuse me. And the above should be in a manner that every single detail in the life of a Jew is permeated and led according to the instructions of the judge and the advisor his soul. Their whole being, your whole essence, everything you do should be followed by your divine soul. So too, and more generally, every man and woman is the judge and advisor of his own or his or her house and household, needs to lead the household according to the instructions and advice of the Torah, to an even more general extent. As mentioned above, that each and every one of the Jewish people, men, women, and children, accepts upon themselves and fulfills the instructions of the judge and the advisor of the generation. In addition, one influences in this matter his wife and household members, including all those one can reach. Now, like right now, we're learning this is what we're doing. We're studying the directives, what the Rebbe wants us to do, how to learn to live Moshiach, what we have to do. And one of the things that I'm doing, that I've been pushing, the Final Baruch Hashem I'm starting to do, is we're publishing these to thousands of people, that everybody should be able to follow what the Rebbe says to do. It's a very, very big mila, very big advantage that we're reading like a pretty accurate translation. So you really get to understand what the Rebbe is saying. And it's not what somebody else is saying the Rebbe is saying. It's what the Rebbe is saying himself. It's very important because we have to follow what he says, including also in the world in general. That so in other words, you have to reach everybody in the world in general in a manner that the whole world also, Olam, the world, from the word helmet, concealment, with all its details and details of details, is made a private domain permeated with the one and only point of Hashem, of God, the Holy One, blessed be the whole world is just Hashem for Hashem, of the world, from the word Helam in a good sense, that if it says that he places his secrets in darkness. In other words, there's a level that the world is hiddenness, so usually we think the hiddenness means that you can't see Hashem, but here's another way that hiddenness means that we reveal everything, we see how the world, the darkness is really his secrets are secrets, that's why Hashem hides it. As he reveals himself in our midst through how does he do it? Through a prophet I will appoint for them. How does Hashem reveal? Through this prophet, like you, through Moshiach Rebbe, the Rebbe, the leader of the generation, who is everything. It's the Nasi called the Tzaddik is the foundation of the world, and similarly to the Eben HaShasiyah, the Shasiyah stone, which is that's the stone that there was found the foundation of the base of Mikdash. It's still in existence, and it's still there. I met somebody who saw it. It's never changed. It never got destroyed. Right now it's covered by a mosque. Similarly to the Eben HaShasiyah, the Shasiyah stone, which is found in a certain place in this physical world, and exists always without change, not even the change of burial like the ark which was buried, and the like. Similarly to how a judge and a prophet exist on an external matter in every generation, signifying the revelation of godliness in the world in a constant fashion, from which the entire world was found. Let's go say says. Let's go over this again. So we see that we have the stone, the Shishai stone. It's there forever and ever. It was never buried. It's still revealed. And similar, the Rebbe says that we have by the judge and prophet, by the leader of the generation, that there's one in every generation that reveals godliness in the world in a constant fashion, from which the entire world was founded. The two qualities of the Shasiyah stone, one point, and two, which it's one point, which includes everything from the entire world was founded, and it also alluded to the other Shasiyah, and similarly the word Yoshev, it means Yoshes. Hold on. God, abolition, but I feel that the Shina from Ganiza. Okay. Derek says a Shoftim and a Navi. Similarly, you see, but Shoftim and Navi, there's similarly like the stone. We see that there's always a Shofet, a judge, and a Nasi and leader in every generation. And we see that there's always a sign of this continually in the world, that from the world that it gets its sustenance, and in both matters it says, as in the Eben HaShasiyah, the special stone. One is a nukra af. That means the Rebbe. There's one person. Kol mimeno includes everything from it. Who shasa kolam, the whole world is sustained. It's hinted in also in the words of Shasiyah. What's it mean, the Shasiyah? There, the word Yashis, from Yashis, that Hashem puts his things in his darkness, that the Yud shows on the point of Bittul. That evidently Shasiyah means one is sustenance and one is Alaya Bittul. Kabbalah's all. Al Derek Inyan Zeh. Similarly, the Rebbe says, similarly to this, we have Al Derek their Indian from Shoftim. Says here, okay, and it says, okay, one more time, guys. and we have to accept it in the way of accepting Kabbalah's all, accepting the yoke of heaven upon ourselves. And it says that the Hey, Shin, and Taf, the letters Shin, Taf, and Hey, represent the expansion as is seen in the form of the letters Shin, Taf, and Hey, similarly to the concept of advisors. Advisors, which is understood. Now the Rebbe says that this is now. And that just like we have by them in Shasiya, you have the advisors, you have the both levels. You have the bittul and you have the advice. And the above has a greater emphasis this year. Hey, Taf, Shin, Nun, Aleph is an acronym for the words Hey. It will be Hey, Taf, that it will be a year of that I will show you wonders. I will show them wonders, which includes most of the letters of Shesiya, the stone of Shesiya. However, in place of the Yud, Hey, Shin, Yud, Taf, which is 5,710, there are the numbers Aleph, Nun, Aleph, and the preparation for the coming year, that it will be a year of wonders and understanding, with the advantage that the understanding has the concept of advisors in contrast to the point of in contrast to the point, the essence of wisdom, their advisors, which is the source higher than wisdom. Sight, and I will show them. The Rebbe is talking about the end. We understand from the letters of the year. Within this year itself, we have already at the end of the year, then the month of Elul, the month of accounting of the previous year, and the month of preparation for the coming year. Moreover, in this month, we have already completed the first 7 days, the 7-day cycle from Sunday until Shabbos, which includes, and the Rebbe said this in Zion, the 7th day of the month, which includes all the Zion Elul, which includes all the days of the previous and upcoming year. Therefore, it is even more fitting to make righteous accounting a special time now, and a proper preparation for the upcoming year regarding the above-mentioned service, that I will return your judges at first and your advisors as in the beginning. Additionally, we have already completed the 3 entire weeks in the positive sense, and the 7 weeks of consolation, and we're already holding on the Haftorah that I alone am He who consoles you, which Hashem, which God's response to the Jewish people complaint. And Zion says, Hashem has left me, and Havaya at different levels have forgotten me. In other words, until when? Ad Masai. And Hashem responds, if I alone am He who will console you, that Hashem is going to take us out Himself, including the double consolation that I alone and the true and complete redemption. And it may be the will of God, that through the service and fulfillment of the judges, you shall set for yourself in all your gates to be a holy Jew, in the above-mentioned matter of, and I will return your judges, and it will fulfill literally in your gates, in the land of Israel, in your gates, in the third base of Migdash, the holy sanctuary, with which its gates are sunk into the ground, and through the service of the Jewish people, that they stand up anew, and together with this, the base of Migdash itself, which is built and completed above, descends from above to below together with the Holy of Holies and Shesiya's son, which is in it, and from which the entire world is founded. And in addition to this, we stand after the 15th of the month of Av, whose consolation of the acronym of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Hoshana Rabbah, and it's the Jewish custom that we wish each and every Jew, and to all the Jewish people as a whole, a good inscription and sealing, and a complete sealing for a good and sweet year, physically, spiritually and physically, and also joined together. Indeed, Hashem should fulfill the desires of the hearts of each and every person of Jewish people, and especially with the fulfillment of the request and the demand of each and every Jewish people until when we turn our judges beginning and the true and complete redemption of Moshiach Tzidkenu.